Hey friends, what's up? Kaz here. Welcome back to another server admin tutorial or bucket spigot plugin tutorial. If you're joining for the first time, feel free to hit that subscribe button because I do these every week. If you have a suggestion of one you'd like me to do, feel free to comment that in the gibbles below and I will get around to it, give you a shout out when I get to it. Please leave a like if you find this video helpful. Anyway, this week is Heroes. It's brought to you by Anthony Ferraro, Cinematic FX, It's Sanity, Raven Boliats, Linux, Chaos and K-Craft, and is made by Kenzo, and this is Heroes, as I already said. Now, this is a massively online role-playing plugin for a Minecraft server. It is a fully customizable class skill and experience system. You can have primary classes and secondary classes or professions. You can gain experience doing different things. It restricts you to different items that you can use to gain those, and then you can PvP. There's a party system involved. You can really fully customize it, which is really awesome. I love it that you can do it. You can either use it out of the box or you can make it whatever you want it to be. So let's talk about permissions. First and foremost, you got heroes.classes.star. If your skill has that ability to fall into that category, which I'll show you guys in the config when we get to it. And then you can also do heroes.classes.classname. So you can have most of them fall into that star, and then you can have donor ones that do not, and then they get those ones. If you want to do that, you got heroes.reset to allow players to reset their class all the way back to the default so they can start completely over. You got heroes.admin.exp, that's to give exp to somebody, and then there's a whole lot of other admin perms that'll be on the screen. It's pretty self-explanatory there. And then you got heroes.bind, which allows players to bind special skills to different items in the game, which is pretty helpful. You'll see that in a minute. So let's talk about commands here. If we do hero, that's pretty much the base one, and then you have page 1 of 5. You can do hero help 2 to get all the other ones. Now your paths is going to be what you're going to look for. So you want to do hero paths. Now this is what is available to you for your class, and you can pick any one of those. That's only what's available for you right now. Now there's probably more. So then you can choose a path, and then you can also choose a profession, which is kind of like a secondary skill. So we're going to do hero, choose, warrior, because that's what I do. I like to stand and trade. So we're going to choose that one. We're going to hero confirm. Welcome to the path of the warrior. It looks like I need to go into, there we go. Actually, so now this next thing that you want to do is you want to take a look at the skills that you have. So you don't really have any right away. So once you get to level 5, you can do the mark your location. You can recall to that location. You can root your target in a place for 5 seconds, which I think is really cool. And then you can see your level. There's your level there. You can do /hero tools. And then this is going to show you what you can use. So you can use up to an iron sword right now. You can do a wood spade. So let's go ahead and get an iron sword. Oops. GMC. Let's get an iron sword. And then let's show you guys a little bit of the experience gaining. So we're going to spawn a zombie, a couple zombies, and then we're going to kill them. Entered into combat. It broke one of the torches. No big deal. So we've gained 15 experience there. Here we go. And 15 experience. So we can do /level, and then you can see that we're almost to the next level up. So let's go ahead. I think we just need to kill like one more, and then we'll be able to level up. Come on. I should have made the room smaller so I could hit them. There we go. Gain a level. We're level 2 now. Now, we didn't really gain anything with level 2, but there's that. So then we could do /mana. We can see how much mana we have, which is used for doing special skills and all that. And then you can do /HP to see how much hit points you have, which we're fine. So we do /CD. So if you have any cooldowns, like a skill that you've done, that would show up there. Okay, so actually I was about to try to get myself up to level 5, which we are at level 4, so I figured I'd demonstrate some of the admin commands. So you can do hero, admin, XP, player, actually we could do have level player, sorry, my name, and then warrior, and then we'll just do 10 or 19, whatever. I mistyped. So now we can see that we have level, and then we do skills, and we see how many skills we have. So now we can do might, which increases your party damage with weapons by 30%. You can root a target in place, and now we've gained a lot of mana from getting more levels, so it's rebuilding itself right there. So what we want to do is we want to put, we want to do bind root to this. Bind root. I think that's the... There we go. So now when we right click this, we can bind something to the ground. Let's do this. Let's put it out here in the open. Oh, geez, we got a baby. There we go. So now he got rooted to the ground for 5 seconds. So let's go ahead and kill him before he finishes. The other option is you can do skill mark. So we mark that. That's the other way that you can access those skills. The best way is probably just to bind it to an item. You can bind it to any item that you want. Bone is pretty, you can't really use it for anything else. And then if you want to unbind it, you just have that item out and do /bind, and then that one's gone away. So that's pretty cool for that. And then, so if we don't have any cooldowns for that bind, and then you could do hero, who, and then a username to see what the other player have, or you do hero leaderboard to see who's on the leaderboard for the heroes, and that will show up there. You can also then there's a party system, which is really cool, which then shares experience between other players. You do P invite and then a player name to invite them, or you do P accept if somebody invited you. You could do P leave to leave that party. And then if you do P and then just start typing, that will only go to your party, which I think is pretty cool. The other thing you do is P mode EXP. That toggles off sharing experience between all of your players, which probably want to leave that on because that's kind of cool. Or you do PV, P mode, and then you can change this to PvP so that you either can or cannot hit your player, your teammates. Could be good if you're going through a dungeon or something, so you don't accidentally hit each other while you're going in there. And then you can do P who to see who's in your party, but we're not in a party. So some of the admin commands here, I showed you one of them. You could do hero, admin, heal, and then the player. There's a whole lot of them. They'll be all on the screen right here. They're pretty self-explanatory. You can give them a profession. You could give them classes, all that stuff. So we could take a look at the professions. Okay, so we don't really have it set up that we can select a profession because we don't have any secondary things in here which we can set up in our config. I'll show you guys that in a moment. That's pretty much all we have to go over in the game. There's a lot of commands, but they're all pretty straightforward and listed out for you. The main thing is you get experience through different things. You get experience from killing enemies, you get experience from farming, you get experience from doing other kinds of things, PvPing, all this stuff in the game, which you can set up in the configuration. Let's go take a look at it. So here we are on the server. You're going to plug that plugin into your plugins folder. Pretty straightforward. It's going to create this heroes folder. So we're going to open that. You got a whole lot of configuration files. We're going to take a look at the classes first. So by default, you start out in the citizens class as it's stated. So we're going to open that up because it is a default permission. It does fall under the wildcard permission, which you can set that to true or false, depending on whatever you want. It is a primary and it cannot be a secondary, so you can set that up. And this is the default certified path. There's the permitted weapons that they can use. Not a whole lot in there, but they can use a stone sword, which is set there. Permitted skills, all of them. And then this is where they get experience. You can set up permission skills in here, so extra skills that they have access to with permissions. We'll take a look. Let's take a look at one of the other ones because that'll be a better example of what's going on here. So let's take a look at that warrior one that I took. So you have another option in here is parents, strong and weak. So you can set up like a tier system where like you can take this class, but you need to take this other class first. So if you want to set up like a warrior something, you can require them to have the warrior class, which would be a strong parent. So you would put that in there. You could put multiple parents in there, so they have to be or have done parts of those. So they have to have whatever's in strong, and then weak, they have to have at least one of them. So if you have like three of them, you could put all those in there, and then as long as they have one of them, it's okay. But if you put all three of those in the strong, then they're required to have all of them before they can get this class. Now it's a primary, it cannot be a secondary. And there's a description, there's a permitted armor, permitted weapons, pretty straightforward. There's a whole lot of, the author didn't put any comments in here, but there's a lot of links to explanations of each one of these config files on the website. I'll put them in the gibbles as well so you can get to them really quick. There's item damage. So it looks like the diamond axe actually does the most damage out of all those. Now here's your permitted skills. That's all the stuff that you can use. Now the skills we'll talk about in a moment. Here's where you get experience sources. You get external, questing, PvP, killing, all that stuff. That's the best way to get experience. Now we have some extra recipes in here, and then here's tier 1. Now the citizen is tier 0. This is the next tier, so if you wanted to add one onto that, you'd probably want to make that 2. Your best bet is to copy the citizen over and then modify that to be whatever class that you have, and then add this the parent section in there. Now here's where you have your wildcard permissions in here. You have a whole lot of other things, XP modifiers, XP loss, all that stuff. If you want to change that stuff, it's, you know, pretty much with this plugin, I'm going really quick over it. It's kind of up to you guys to really modify it to be whatever you want for your server. So this is where the player information is stored. You pretty much probably don't want to modify any of that information in there. All right, here's the skills. Now these are all jar files. You can't modify these, but that's where they're housed. If you want to add other ones that other people have made, that would be in there. Storage is nothing. So we're going to open the config file. Now you can change your experience curve. So if you want to make it harder to level up, you want to change that, make that bigger. You have your max experience, max level, all that stuff. Experience loss for dying, PvP, XP loss, max party size, level loss, master loss. So that means that if you lose enough experience, will you go down a level? And that's set to false by default. You have spawner checks, so if you don't want people to get experience from spawners, you could set that to true. Reset on death, that's like a hardcore mode. PvP range, you have to be within 50 of, sorry, this is level range, so you have to be within 50 levels. Now our max level is 50, so PvP can happen anywhere. You set it to 5, so you have to be within 5 levels of somebody else in order to PvP them. Oh, sorry, that's the 10 to 40 here. Now you can put a cost in for swapping classes. You can use prefixes, which there's a heroes chat plugin as well. You got your health bar, you got properties. Now by default you can't really change the storage type, it's only got the YML. You can also enable a built-in economy or a plugin with an economy in there for true, so it can play with your economy. Combat time, slow while casting, so you move slower when you're casting. Skills, all that stuff. You can disable beds if you want. You can have your mana interval, your bonus, and hats, all that stuff, which is really cool. So we're gonna hop into damages. Pretty straightforward. This is all the creature damage. You can modify the health of different creatures. So if you want to make them beastly, you can change their damage so they can do more damage, all that stuff. You got environmental damage, enchantment damage, all that stuff. You can modify all the damages of all the mobs, which is really cool. Now here's your experience. This is where you can modify how much experience you get for each item in here. So killing zombies, we got 15 experience. You get kill a giant, you get 300 experience. You get all this stuff for mining. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then you get experience for crafting different items, which is really cool. And for making TNT, like you can modify that if you want to lower it. And now you got your skills. So now you can change the skills, how they work. I don't think you can create new skills in here because they rely on those jar files, but these are all the default ones. You can change the way that they say things. You can change the color of them. You can change some of the variables. Looks like hero, skill, target. Hero would probably be the player's using the item, and then the skill is the skill name, and then the target. You can change the distances. There's a lot of stuff you can change for each skill, but I don't believe you can create new skills. There's a whole lot of stuff in here. Here's your cooldown, the potions. It's pretty much, like I said, this plugin is huge. You could change so much about it. You pretty much got to go and do some poking around. I hope this helps you get started with it, gives you an idea of the plugin itself and how to get around in it. And this will get you on your way. Okay, so hopefully that was a little bit helpful to get you guys started poking around on those config files. The information out there is not the greatest to get started with this. You pretty much gotta kind of like plug and play. You gotta make some changes, but that's kind of how building a server works. Is you gotta kind of learn the plugin. Hopefully this gets you started and saves some time for you, but you really got to like kind of play with what you want on your server and how you want it to be. So hopefully that was helpful. This is Kaz from my friends, reminding you guys all, enjoy the game. God bless.
Time to get out. Okay, no, we're getting stuck. Duck and weave. This was a bad idea. Let's go downstairs. More of them downstairs. Oh.
Hair's still wet from the shower. Anyway, hope you guys had a great Christmas.